Happy Yule Makrismahana Kwanzaa, Cancer, Cancer Rising, and Cancer Moon people. This is your weekly astrological and card forecast for the week starting December 19th, 2016. And a quick reminder for you guys, remember this Wednesday, the 21st at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'm going to be doing a live streaming forecast of 2017 and the big planetary moves. So make sure you mark that on your calendars and come back here on YouTube. I will be answering questions. If you don't have a YouTube account, go ahead and, just take a second, make one, subscribe, so that way you can comment and, we can chat. It's going to be a real fun time. Again, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time right here on this channel. Also, quick reminder for everyone who's been asking, enrollment for the tarot classes and the astrology webinars I have going on in January are up. So that's the 3 installments of tarot tutorship that I always do, and a special astrology love webinar that I will be holding. And if you want more information about that, you can always go to my website, integrativemysticism.com. And on my vlog channel, if you didn't know I had a personal vlog channel, ScarletMoonMagic, you do now. I'm actually doing a special series all month on spiritual awakenings, so maybe you want to check that out too. So, what is going on with your astrology this week, Cancer? Well, for your astrology this week, in the very beginning, we do have Mercury turning retrograde. We already knew that was going to happen. And now, Mercury is turning retrograde in your 7th house of partnerships, of commitments, your closest one-on-one relationships. And this can be a time where we're going back and maybe even dealing with some old business, could be even very pleasant business, with old partners, whether they're old romantic partners, old business partners. This is also a great time between now and the middle of January to even reconnect with close friends, your closest old BFFs. Who are your BFFs from childhood? If you've been having trouble with any of your closest one-on-one relationships, Mercury retrograde can talk about bringing this back to an earlier time, or even a sweeter time, for this partnership. However, I will say during a Mercury retrograde, it's never really a good time to make something official or crystallized. If you're already engaged and you have a wedding planned, that's okay. But I would not, finalize any kind of commitments or anything like that during this Mercury retrograde. That being said, on Monday, this Mercury retrograde is going to connect to Pluto, also in the 7th house. And you and a partner, or you and, again, a close one-on-one friend or business partner may have to revise or take away a rule, or maybe something that was about to become official, and take it off the table because it's not working out well for either of you, and it just looks like if we commit to this, it's not going to happen, or it's going to make things worse. And that's how Mercury retrograde connecting to Pluto is going to affect everyone, just depending on where it falls in their chart. And this isn't a bad thing. We may actually be going back on something we both agree we need to go back on. This could be like backing out of a home purchase that we realize is not going to be good for us or our family. This could be backing out of a trip because we found a less expensive way to travel. There is something that's going to happen this week that we can take off that we're both going to be happy to have that freed space and possibly even freed money to play with. Later on in the week, we've got Saturn, the planet of structure and stability, forming a very harmonious angle to Uranus. And this is between your 6th house of reputation and your work schedule and your 10th house of career. And we're bringing order to chaos. That is the perfect subtitle for this kind of connection. And this can be a great thing for those of you who have been feeling like maybe things have been too chaotic with work lately, whether it's chaotic when it comes to dealing with other personnel, other people you work with, or perhaps you're not feeling like your balance between what you're doing at work and how much you're getting paid is fair. A lot of you may actually have to have some sit-downs with customers or clients who could be trying to take you or your business for a ride this week with unreasonable demands. The nice thing is if you've already been rehearsing these kinds of confrontations, you will notice that people are actually willing to listen. And this is actually a time to be maybe even voicing those concerns. Sometimes it's hard to give out constructive criticism. Sometimes it's hard to tell somebody, they're not doing something right, or this is just something that we can't do as an individual or as a business. But I think that if we need to make those corrections to something that is wrong, or it may come up towards the end of the month, people will be much more willing to actually amend this. So if you already feel like you're caught in a bind you can't get out of, there's a way out showing up at the end of the week. So, what is going on with your cards then, we may ask? Well, for your spiritual advice, we do have the card of the Fairy Godmother. And this is the card that talks a lot about epiphanies and good news coming from, again, being blocked, in a sense, or having something closed to us. Because the Fairy Godmother can talk a lot about how, say, whatever is out there protecting us can sometimes stop us from doing something we want to do, because at the end of the day we will realize there was either a better way, or again, it was no good for us in the first place. And so this time, again, this might have to do with where are we having to release or let go of something that we know, again, is actually causing more harm than good, and it's not worth it. And the Fairy Godmother is basically saying if something is taken off the table this week, like we've already talked about with the astrology, it ultimately is for the best for all involved. And the best thing we can do is not resist that. Sometimes we think something has to stay on the table because it's been there forever, or it's supposedly this great new thing that's going to make everything wonderful, or whatever, maybe we're not necessarily looking at it with objective eyes. And the Fairy Godmother is basically saying as soon as you let her take this off the table for you, a better replacement is coming in, one you have not thought about. For your Earth sector, when it comes to your work and finances, we do have the Nine of Swords upright. This will be a fairly hectic week, because the Nine of Swords upright does talk about a lot of stress, but it doesn't seem like a lot of things are getting done. Now, with the Nine of Swords, a lot of that does have to do with the fact that there's a lot of hurry up and wait going on, a lot of stress coming from, from the top down at the office, and a lot of this could have to do with, again, unreasonable demands. Now, again, towards the end of the week, things should be very relaxed, a little bit easier with, with the Saturn-Uranus connection, but overall, in the beginning of the week, with the Nine of Swords, we may be finding out that trying to get everyone's demands met are just making it too hard to do. Financially, with the Nine of Swords upright, there may be some anxiety about something that's absolutely not going to happen. There may be some kind of talk going around that is just plain talk. You may be feeling like somebody's trying to take something off the table in a way that's bad for you, or you may find that somebody is trying to maybe finagle, an extension where they can't have an extension. It's all smoke. It's not going to happen. The nice thing is everything does turn out the way you want it to. When it comes to cold hard cash, and we're talking about money, the Nine of Swords upright says a lot of things are going to be taken, not necessarily off the table, but they're going to be handled behind the scenes and overnight. I do expect pleasant surprises for you, but you might get a bit racked with stress because you're not getting the affirmation or the, or the confirmation, or maybe even the narration of what's going on when you're not around. But don't worry, financially you're free and clear. For your communications with air, we do have the Eight of Cups inverted. And again, we have an opportunity to reconnect with somebody from our past. Because the Eight of Cups inverted often does talk about people coming back from a journey, people coming back from somewhere they've been for a long time. And I do feel like this is going to be a friend. I feel like it's more than just, your normal connection over, I guess you could say, the holiday season. We always get back together with people. But somebody is going to be showing up in your life that normally does not show up at all. And I feel like it's going to be a very pleasant surprise to have this connection to your roots once more. For your challenge this week with fire, we do have the Ten of Cups upright. Not much of a challenge at all, because the Ten of Cups is basically talking about how everything, again, if allowed, is going to wrap up in a happily ever after. The only challenge that can come with the Ten of Cups upright is making sure that we don't prevent this by, again, trying to engage in everything that seems remotely stressful. The Ten of Cups as a challenge is kind of neat, because again, it's saying that, if you do see basically that everything is at peace, and a lot of, what could be's out there, the threats and all of that, they don't necessarily exist until you reach out and touch them, until you invite them into your space. It's kind of like a vampire. A vampire can't come into your house unless you invite them. And so your challenge this week is to make sure, again, you don't make a lot of the hot air and all of the crazy stuff going on that people are talking about, especially at work, but also possibly with family, a reality by engaging in it. It's kind of saying, watch where you might overreact a little bit too much, or you might accidentally push something forth into being that doesn't have to be. For your emotions with water and your romantic life, we do have the Five of Swords inverted. This is actually a really good card to get inverted because it talks about amends. If you and a partner have been having a hard time with either one another, or maybe even with other family members, it is that time of year, or maybe even with other friends or neighbors and things like that, you and your partner are going to be in a situation where a lot of people are trying really hard to make some serious peace. Because the Five of Swords inverted talks all about ends of conflict. How do we patch things up? If you've been dating somebody or things have been a little weird, maybe we've been kind of bickering or having some silent treatment lately, again, the patching up is available this week. Those dialogues are going to be coming in. Now the Five of Swords inverted says there's a very important lesson here. If we want things to work, we've got to make sure that we're trying to heal the situation, not punish it. I think that for some reason the cards are basically saying you can have what you want, you can have peace, but don't get addicted to punishing, okay, this week, because you could have exactly, again, all of this is still just up in the air. So you can actually pick and choose how you want this to go, but I honestly think that with the Five of Swords inverted, a lot of people are going to be patching up where there could have been some rough patches in their relationships. So that is your forecast, Cancer. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate it. And of course, if you'd like to get a session, you can always follow the links below, or go to integrativemysticism.com.